Hey everyone, welcome back to another happy hour with me, Vito, and it's a fantastically beautiful day in Toronto. Not a cloud in the sky, very sunny, obviously, because there's no clouds in the sky. What a stupid sentence that was. And just the right temperature, I think, for enough people. A little bit still on the colder side for me. That being, I think it's about 17 degrees, 17 Canadian degrees. I think that's about high 60s in American units. So is it? I don't even remember. Let's see. 17 Canadian. Well, normal units of temperature measurement. 62. Okay, so low 60s. But a beautiful day. Went out for a walk this morning. Well, this morning, like my morning. I went out just after lunchtime. Should put my phone on mute. And yeah, just great to kind of. Hey, John. 23 degrees of 74. Oh, I guess for temperature. Is that like the number that you decided to memorize for like like for reference? Or is that where you are? Is it 23 degrees where you are? But yeah, so super nice. I decided to make myself. I'm gonna mess up my camera now. Hold on, guys. Trying to make this a little bit easier for me to. This isn't gonna work very well. I messed it all up. It's the only direct reference I remember. There's some algebra. Okay. So yeah, so that's something easy to sort of remember then, just to kind of get some sort of bearing on the difference in the temperature. Too much bourbon. Have you? What are you dipping into, John? I made myself a small little cocktail. Very easy. It's gin and Campari 1-to-1, and a little bit of Saint Germain liqueur. It's kind of like it's an elderberry, I think, taste. So it's got a lot of sweetness, so it helps to counter some of the bitter. Well, a lot of the bitter, pretty much from the Campari. Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit from 2018. You know what? How is that? Because we and I say we, two friends of mine, very close to, yeah, cheers, indeed. Two friends close to me, I think, have that one. And I think one of them opened it. I think the other one's waiting for all of us to get together to open his. I could be wrong. My memory's terrible. But yeah, the Kentucky Spirits, I've heard so many good things about it. And yeah, the turkey products are all great. The 101 is actually my favorite out of everything that I've had from the turkey. Based on the cost, the versatility of it, and the ease of access. In Toronto, where I am, it's hard to get some of the better bourbons. They typically go on auction through our provincially run liquor board, which is a pain in the butt for a lot of us, but we make do. And yeah, it's rare. I have friends that have been applying for the auction and entering, and have never gotten a response back or ever won anything. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, so I think the 101 is definitely my favorite bourbon, and probably not my favorite. My most go-to bourbon. Yeah. Do I know Swami? I have interacted with Swami, obviously through YouTube and our channels. I haven't met him in person yet. It's been a while since I've gone to Montreal, and I don't know if he's ever come to Toronto since I've known him. So, yeah, Ontario, yeah, the LCBO, as it is called, the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. Yeah, you know what? I have a fair amount of samples. It's actually not a lot of samples compared to some people that I know. Daniel, who is another co-host on our channel, he has an entire wall behind him. If you catch our live streams Thursday nights, where it's myself, Daniel, and Brad and Jeremy, you'll see Daniel's wall behind him. It's just like probably at least 100 samples. Your name. Yeah, the border is probably going to stay closed for quite some time. But which is good and bad. It's good just because, we don't want anything excessive in terms of spreading, right? Keep everything as contained as possible to eliminate all that. So that's the good. The bad is that no traveling, right? So shitty. Jeremy, I've met Jeremy a couple times in person. Super guy. Jeremy, Rob, Whiskey in the Six, stand-up guy himself. The whiskey community is filled with a lot of really amazing people. Amazing, friendly, generous, and yeah, it was very nice to be welcomed when we made our channel. We made our channel just before the really big boom in whiskey review channels, and we actually haven't done a whiskey review on this channel since I think the last one we did was the one I did in December. We should probably bring that back. I have a couple of bottles actually on their way. I should hopefully be getting them within the week. So maybe I'll do a couple of reviews of the stuff that I'm getting, and maybe have a couple of the other very recent bottles that I've acquired. The one thing that is a pain in the butt for, I don't know about other reviewers, but for me personally, I hate editing. I hate listening to myself speak, which is kind of weird because I do this quite often. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of hearing myself speak. So when I have to go back and edit videos and have to listen to myself say the same thing like 8 times in order to kind of build a segment of the video, it's just like, it's like I got tired of it, so I stopped making reviews. Daniel's very busy. Brad's taking care of his kid because school's out in Ontario for the rest of the year. And yeah, what bourbon interests me? You know what? The bourbons that are coming out of Texas are probably the ones that interest me the most. They're doing some amazing things, especially the guys at Iron Root, and that's my Hat Iron Root Distillery in Denison, Texas. Balcones, Andalusia. Something about the way that the corns that they're using, because they're not sort of pigeonholed in like a Kentucky bourbon realm. And nothing, that's not to kind of put down Kentucky bourbon, because Kentucky bourbon is fantastic, but it is a very central. There's a very central part of what makes Kentucky bourbon that, and there's not a lot of variance outside of that circle, which isn't which isn't bad, but it isn't, I think, all that great for the versatility that you can kind of explore with bourbon. The guys out in Texas are doing some crazy things with different corns, different corn mashes. Not utilizing all the same corn, but using like Bloody Butcher and Golden Harvest and stuff like that. And then the heat and temperature in Texas, especially in the pockets like Waco bourbon, a little bit more south, is very different than Denison bourbon, which is different from the bourbon down in like San Antonio and Austin, from like Still Austin and Ranger Creek. So within Texas, there's a huge amount of variance in the type of bourbon that's being produced, in addition to the climate influences so greatly what they're doing. So that's sort of where I stand with which bourbons are interested. What bourbon I'm interested most in right now is the craziness that's coming out of Texas is definitely what I'm trying to keep my eye on. Obviously, it's very hard being in Canada to get that. I do have a lot of friends in Austin and the Texas area, and I'm familiar with the guys up at Iron Root Distillery. So whenever I'm down there, I'm privileged to be able to go to the distilleries and try out some stuff, and have people hold bottles for me, which is very, very nice. So yeah, John, if you haven't had any Texas whiskey, if in Maine, I think you can get Iron Root in Maine. I'm not too familiar with obviously the laws and everything like that, but is Total Wine in Maine? I could be wrong. I could not be wrong. Hey, Peter White, welcome in. The bourbon I'm interested in is the countless bottles I cannot get in. Yep, pretty much. That's the big thing is in Canada. It's so hard to get any bourbon up to us. Well, it's not hard. It's tricky, and it's one of those things where I have a lot of friends that will say, "Oh yeah, I'll send you a bottle. I'll send you a sample," and I'll tell them, please don't take the risk, because you can do it, but there's a chance that it'll get stopped at the border and either confiscated, or I'll have to pay like an obscene amount of taxes. And I'd rather not even take that risk for the benefit of my wallet and the benefit of the whiskey. Keep it, save it. If I'm ever down in your neck of the woods, we'll share a dram. But yeah, it's just a silly the border laws and of bringing alcohol back and forth between the two countries. It should be a lot easier, considering that we have like trade and everything like that, and the Canada and the state are so close and everything. But whatever. Someone from the whiskey community should get into politics and figure this out. Hey Tim, cheers, buddy. He has college friends who cannot get Iron Root in Maine, so I spoiled them when they came to Texas. Oh, okay, so Maine can't get Iron Root. I'm sure that they're trying to, the guys out in at Iron Root are trying to figure out a way of getting into other states. I know in the past, I think 6 or 8 months, they've expanded quite a bit into the Midwest. So maybe the East Coast is on the horizon. Peter's saying that most of my best bourbons come from my friend in Western New York. 4 bottles will be coming as soon as the border opens. Nice. I assume the 4 bottles. I assume that they're bringing 2 bottles per person. I'd assume, and that's just the cheapskate in me, just being like, I don't want to pay any taxes. So the more people I can bring over the border with me, the more whiskey, or in general, just the more spirits I can bring over without having to pay taxes. For such a simple kind of combination. So for the guy for the people watching that didn't catch the beginning, I'm drinking Campari and gin. So 1-to-1. So I poured actually 2 ounces of Campari, 2 ounces of gin, just to have enough to kind of last me a little bit of time. And then I topped it off with just a little bit of Saint Germain liqueur. Very simple, obviously, and just 1 ice cube. It's fantastic. Just the right balance of bitter and sweetness and herbaceousness from the gin. And the gin I used Tanqueray only because I'm out of Botanist and my other London Dry is on the last little bit, so I'm kind of saving that for a neat pour just because I did enjoy that neat. Yeah. Oh yeah, the prices anywhere, just about anywhere, are better than the prices in Canada for whiskey. That is without a doubt a factual statement. So Peter's getting a 4 Roses 130, Larceny Barrel Proof Russell Reserve pick, and an Old Label of Old Forester 910. Nice. John, we were talking about the Wild Turkey earlier. 4 Roses would probably be my next go-to bourbon in terms of like their core ranges. Wild Turkey has an amazing core range. The 4 Roses is definitely next in my opinion in terms of easy access Kentucky bourbon. Peter saying try Oxley Gin. I feel like I've seen that one before. I don't know if I've had it. Let's see. Obviously, you know that I assume that it's available in at the LCBO. It is. Oh, $50. Oh, yes, I've seen this bottle before. Yes. Actually, it's fairly close. The Bloor & Royal York LCBO has 9 in stock. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I need to go to the LCBO. I need to pick up a new bottle of gin. I was gonna go pick up a bottle of the Botanist gin, which is the gin that Bruichladdich produces. But I'm gonna give this a shot. It's about the same price, I think. 49 and 53. Yeah, so I'll give the Oxley a shot. See how that is. I'll do it on a stream. So I'm gonna pick up a bottle of that. I want a bottle of the 4 Roses single barrel. Now that we're talking about single barrels, 4 Roses. Definitely want to get another top up on that. And that'll probably be it for this month for purchases, just because I have a bottle. Peter, I'm not too sure if you saw this available at our Fight Club sites, but I picked up a bottle of the Blackadder Raw Cask Bunnahabhain 13-year Moyne. Very excited for that one. I love Bunnahabhain. Their Moyne bottlings are some of my favorite I've ever had. Not even just out of that distillery, out of anything I've ever had. So I'm very excited for this bottle. Excuse me 1 second. Phone's ringing. Get rid of that notification. Just the apartment building. So yes. The Botanist is juniper lacking. Yes, and that's sort of what I kind of enjoyed about it, that it wasn't juniper heavy. What I liked about the Botanist was that it is a little bit more savory and a lot more like lemon zesty, which to me makes a wonderful neat pour. And it had like I was saying, is that savoriness, and the savoriness for me came out in almost like a bacon fat sort of way. which was extremely interesting and different out of anything I've ever had in a gin. Yeah. Greg, he's working. I'm working by. Yeah, and like I said, the everyone's got their sort of tastes, and I wasn't saying that you're wrong. It was just one of those things where I didn't mind it lacking in the juniper, because I found it made up for the lack of juniper in other things. Yeah. That one was Peter. Are we on Facebook together? We should probably actually. You're in Ontario. You should be part of our whiskey, Ontario whiskey lovers group on Facebook. I'm gonna post the link in the chat. Now, this is an Ontario only group, not to sort of how should I say, exclude anybody, but it is a little more centric to Ontario and the plight that we experience because of the LCBO. So let me mute my sound, go on. This is such a complicated process. So Peter, there's the link. Join in. I'll get you approved. I'm one of the moderators on that page, and yeah, and I'll communicate some things to you. So for everyone that's sort of lurking about, I see there's a couple of people watching. What if you are, what are you dipping into today on this wonderfully beautiful day? We'd love to hear what you're drinking and to see your names pop up. It's always nice to kind of interact with everybody that's watching. Don't feel shy. If you have any questions, definitely kind of pop them in the chat. I'm not a professional by any means, but I will do my best to answer or to get an answer for you. But it's nice to just have an outlet, especially these days with the way things are. You're more than welcome to obviously keep on watching silently. Very still much appreciate everyone watching, but it would be nice to kind of get to know everybody that watches our channel. All right, there you go, Peter. Approved. Done. John's grilling shrimp and veggies. Wonderful. That's one thing that I've never been able to get into. And as an Italian, I'm always ridiculed for this. I'm not huge on fish and shellfish. I don't have a taste for it. I've tried it. I've tried multiple things: calamari, fish and chips, shrimp, tuna, salmon, mackerel, you name it. Fish in Scotland, fish here, homemade fish, nonna's fish, fish in Japan. I've had it. It's run its course. Not huge on it. It smells intriguing, but it's always like texturally and taste wise, always like iffy for me. But Peter, yeah, the group was founded prior to me knowing the Daniel, who was on our channel, Daniel Hayes, founded it probably a year or two before we met. And once we met and a bunch of other people, pretty much the admin group, We all have a hatred for the LCBO, so we made that a mandatory question. You have to answer. If you answer no, that you don't hate the LCBO or you're annoyed by it, we're not going to kick you out. We just like to see where everyone lines up in terms of their feelings for it, which is kind of interesting because oddly, more people than you would think answer that they're not unhappy with the LCBO's variety and pricing, which is very weird. Either people are ballers or they're drinking, like basic stuff, which fair enough, but just kind of really weird. John, no. Scallop's another thing that I'm not huge on. Oh, he has family from Body. A Body is a... I got to be careful what I say here, because I know a couple people from Body. But people from Body have some of the... are very... Yeah, your dialect's just wrong. The Italian dialect from Body is one of the most interesting dialects out of all of Italy. There was an amazing Italian comedian that had this bit. I think I lost the video, but I'm gonna see if I can find it, that had a bit where he talked about Italian dialects as they moved from north to south to different parts of Italy, mimicking almost exactly that area's dialect. I'm gonna see if I can find it, and whenever I find it, I'm gonna just post it everywhere because I think it was one of the best bits of Italian comedy I've ever seen. And even if you don't understand Italian, if you watch and just listen to the variety of dialects from Italy, it is unbelievably amazing how different from literally an area that I think only stretches from, it might stretch the halfway of Texas. So from let's say Denison to Waco, maybe. No, probably say Denison to Austin, maybe. I gotta check that out, but the variety is unbelievable. So Tim from Texas is sipping on some easy Old Granddad Bald and Bond. That is one that I don't think I've ever had. I don't know if I've had Old Granddad before. There's a good chance that I might have had it, Tim, in the vault, but I can't be certain. The next time I'm in Austin, and what I'm going to start doing actually is I'm going to create a notepad on my phone, and I'm going to start keeping track of every whiskey that I have, because I've probably had close to easily pushing over 400, 500 whiskeys. And if you were to ask me which ones I've had, I could probably name you 40, 50, and the rest are just lost to memory. So I think I'm going to start doing that and just create a master list of stuff that I've had. I'm going to try and remember some that I've had. That's probably my project for the evening. I'm going to take another cocktail, go out on the balcony, sit in the sun, start trying to remember all the whiskey that I've had. But I'm almost positive I've never had the Old Granddad Bottle and Bond. And that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to look out for next time I'm in the States to try, because I doubt it's available in Ontario. So I'm just catching up a little bit. Peter said, I'm on the whiskey concert site, and there's a forum. How fucked up. Yeah. The LCBO, we used to go off on the LCBO on some of our live chats where we would have a lot of a lot of Canadian whiskeys prevalent, and just the sort of hoops and bounds that we'd have to jump and jump through and whatnot to get some bottles into Ontario, to get the LCBO to bring in. It's just unbelievable. And I don't even want to think about it because it just upsets me at how difficult it is to do anything alcohol related, and not even going to even touch upon the ridiculous process of opening up a distillery. I'm hoping to have actually Mark and Lisa from Silver Fox back on the channel soon, so that they can run us through everything that they've been doing. Obviously, they've been very busy, as most distilleries are, making sanitizer. But I'm hoping, and I know they have a fair amount of product available in store. And I don't think they're in the LCBO yet in terms of shelf allocation. But just the process that one has to go through in order to start up a distillery, I think, is probably one of some of the hardest sort of legalities compared to anywhere else in the world. I could be wrong on that, but I just from hearing people talk about it, and from Canada and the States, specifically more Texas, just because I know more distillers in Texas, it just seems absolutely ridiculous. But I digress. It's a beautiful day. We should all be happy and smiling and sipping on our favorite beverage. So yeah, let's quickly kind of discuss some TV shows. So for anyone watching, on Monday I mentioned that I finished Community, and very disappointed in the last 3 seasons. The first 3 seasons of Community were unbelievably fantastic. And I feel like on season 4, when Dan Harmon jumped off, was essentially kicked off, I think he was fired. And then he came back for season 5 and 6. By season 5 and 6, so much damage had already been done in season 4 that I feel like, even though the episodes were fairly strong, there was no cohesiveness as there once was in the first 3 seasons. It seemed very segmented, all the episodes, and there wasn't really a lot of flow, even though there wasn't a terrible amount previously, but there was some sort of semblance of it. So kind of disappointed. However, now they're talking about making a movie, which is great. The cast did a table read of an episode. I think it was from season 5, and a Zoom hangout afterwards where they kind of talked and kind of shot the shit a little bit. So very excited to hear that Dan Harmon and the majority of the cast, obviously not Chevy Chase because he was a piece of shit. I love Chevy Chase, but pretty much based on everything that I've heard and people have talked about, he's a nightmare to work with. Still one of my favorite actors. The Vacation movies are still some of my favorite movies. Christmas Vacation is definitely one of my favorite comedies of all time. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, so very excited for that. And hopefully, once sort of the lockdown kind of settles down and everyone can kind of go back to work and everything like that, and movie productions get ramped up again, that comes out fairly soon. So I finished that, and then I started watching this Irish show called Dairy Girls on a recommendation that I saw on I believe it was Reddit that I saw it. And it's an Irish comedy, like I said, about this group. I think, it is 4 girls in middle school. I think it's middle school or high school, however you call it in Ireland, and a dude, like a guy, just like the same age, all in the same grade. I woke my roommate up this morning because I was laughing so hard when I started watching it. You have to sort of, obviously the accents are one thing, but the Irish humor and some of the terms that they use, some of the words and whatnot, are to die for. The mannerisms and everything like that are just fuck. I kind of slipped into a little bit of Irish there. Are fucking amazing. And I'm swearing because I've now 4 ounces of alcohol in now, can sort of like let loose. it's an amazing young group of actresses. I think they all fit a specific part. It's almost like a female version of The Inbetweeners. If you ever watched that, that's a UK-based sitcom on a group of 4 dudes in high school that just get up to outlandish bullshit. And if you haven't watched Inbetweeners, highly recommend it. Also highly recommend Dairy Girls. I'm 3 episodes in right now. Fantastic. Catching up on the chat. Euphoria. Is that a TV show, John? Westworld. I have to catch up on Westworld. I watched the first 2 seasons. I think no, there's only 3 seasons. I haven't watched the 3rd season yet. If I'm remembering correctly, John, correct me if I'm wrong. There's 3 seasons. I haven't watched the latest season. So if there's 4 seasons, I've watched 3 and missed 4. If there's 3 seasons, I've missed 3, watched 2. Peter, no, I haven't. Hell or High Water. The benefit of having my phone right next to me, 1, it's always going off with notifications, but 2, I can quickly look up and see Hell or High. Oh, there it is. In a desperate bid to save their family ranch, 2 brothers stage a series of clever bank robberies with a pair of Texas Rangers in hot pursuit. Oh, it's a movie. Oh, this movie, Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine. I haven't watched it. I think I watched the trailer back when, and I said to myself, I have to watch that. 2016 was a little bit of a weird year for me, so I'm gonna give myself a pass that it fell off the radar. I'm adding it to my list right now, and I will watch it very soon, Peter. Thank you for that. Yes, indeed. Thank you for that one. So Dairy Girls. And then obviously, I don't know if anyone else has been, but I've been watching The Last Dance, which is the 1996-97, right? 96-97 Bulls team. So I've been watching that. An amazing documentary. I'm trying to stay away. I've managed to stay away, and I'm still trying to stay away as best I can from some of the articles coming out talking about how, this player that was on the documentary now commenting that it doesn't portray what they meant to say properly, and other players that weren't invited to be on the documentary coming out and talking about stuff. Try to stay away from all of that. Obviously, you can't hide away from some of the headlines when you're scrolling through the news, like on Reddit and whatnot. But I'm trying not to read too much into it. Just kind of watching the documentary for what it is, and then afterwards, kind of going back and kind of parsing through some of the things. But extremely entertaining. I'm pretty much watching it mainly to familiarize myself with Michael Jordan and that team, and really sort of see and appreciate the kind of player that Michael Jordan was, and some of the things that he would do on the court that had never been done before and still haven't been done to the level that he did it at. And it's been very eye-opening and sort of kind of a small realization that, like before you used to hear Michael Jordan, if you didn't grow up in the 90s watching him or be a huge basketball nerd and go back and watching stuff, or just a basketball fan in general to appreciate the sport, you don't really realize that how impactful he was. So it's really nice to go back to be able to watch something and go back and, you know, view that. So, binge watch Archer. Yeah, and Archer's one of those TV shows that I watched a fair amount of, and then it just fell off the radar for me. Definitely got to go back and binge it. But yeah, definitely Archer's definitely still on the list of stuff that I have to catch up on. Rodman, Pippen, Jordan Kerr, Buck Longley. Yeah. I think Peter, he's asking you if you're 125 years old. I could be wrong. Oh, and I'm sorry, guys, I completely forgot. Normally, I put the StreamYard link in the chat. I'm going to do that right now. And if anyone's around, you're more than welcome to hop on in, share a drink. I'm sure, like, I'm not the best of speakers, so I appreciate anyone still watching and listening to my voice. Appreciate you hanging out. But if you want to pop in and kind of actually talk with me, you're more than welcome to. Oh, AJ. Cheers, buddy. I feel like I'm getting better. Here's the thing: is when I was making whiskey reviews, my raw cuts would be about between 15 and 20 minutes. And I would slash on a 20-minute raw cut, I would slash easily about half of that of dead space and ums. Because when I first started, I'm still not great, but I'm much better than when I first started doing stuff on YouTube. But it's a work in progress. Yeah, that's what it is. Cannabis, anybody? Yes, please, John. I love me some of the green. It's been a while since I've had some, and only just because I have no idea. It's one of those things where it's like people are like, oh, it's so addictive. It really isn't. It really, really isn't. I don't think I've had any marijuana. Ooh, probably since January. I'm trying to remember. I think it was around January, the last time I had some. Which, as I say that, it's kind of little depressing, but very much enjoy it. Don't have it as often as I would like, just because it doesn't affect me negatively at all. So, but now it's kind of hard just because of the apartment building that I'm living in. It doesn't allow any smoking in the building on the balconies that we have, only outside the front door. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt. I'm trying to get around that. I'm not going to say it on stream just in case, I don't know. I just don't want anything coming. But, edibles and stuff like that are a thing. I'm just, it is legal in Canada, yes. It's just, like I said, it's just not something that I'm always reaching for. I don't need it. I enjoy it. But it's definitely not something that I need to sort of do. A lot of people use it, for chronic pain and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of close friends of mine use it for that purpose, which has obviously it has its benefits. So, yeah. Oh, the YouTuber pick. You know what? That reminds me. I need to message somebody about that. Yeah, we're talking about cannabis. Yeah. So obviously, there's a lot of great benefits, but yeah, I don't need it to for anything in my life right now. This was a very nice cocktail, as simple as it was, and it's lasted me almost an hour. So I say job well done. Job well done on that. What else, guys? What else can we talk about? We got 14 minutes left for the happy hour. Oh, I guess we'll talk about this really quickly. Let everyone know that we are obviously going live on Thursday night. So if you hit the little bell button underneath the YouTube video, you'll be notified when we do that. We are doing another set of another sample stream. So we're dipping into our samples and talking about them and just having a chat. And then that's at 8 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. Then I always like to plug Ed and Erica from the Rocket Review. They stream immediately after us. And then immediately after that stream on the Rocket Review, we come back onto Cask Strength and we have an After Dark, a Cask Strength After Dark stream, which is essentially where it's the self-deleting text of the whiskey tube world. Anything that gets said or gets, discussed, did on stream, as soon as we go off live, the stream gets deleted and sent to the netherworlds. So obviously, done me. Roy is going live, I think at 4:30 or 4:45 Eastern, as well. So it's pretty much like an entire day of streams there. And I think there's something else as well. But anyways, what whiskey bear you hunting? What whiskey bear? John, I don't understand that question. Sorry, bro. In West Texas, we just consider Satan's cilantro so mega taboo around here. I've not had the urge to try it, though. I have nothing against it. Fair enough, AJ. Fair enough. They murdered Michael Jordan's dad. Huh? They murdered him in the documentary? Like they made him look bad? The little bit that I've seen of him being discussed in the documentary so far, I'm 4 episodes in, it hasn't looked bad against them at all. What whiskeys are you hunting? John, I'm hunting for. So here's the thing. My whiskey collection is not expansive anymore. I have about 23 or 24 bottles, a bunch of samples. The only bottles really that I'm hunting for are independent release bottles of distilleries that I like. because I can always get the core releases fairly easily. It's the independent bottlings from independent bottlers that are highly respected. So Blackadder, North Star, the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, Caden Heads, and then distilleries that I like. So specifically, the last bottle that I bought, the one I'm waiting for right now, is a Bunahab and Moyne cask, bottled through Blackadder. So I was like, I love Bunahab. The Moyne casks are always fantastic. Picking up a bottle of that. Within reasonable price ranges as well. Obviously, right now I'm not working because of all the layoffs, so money's a little tight. So I'm not going out spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but under $200 Canadian is something that I can do. So those are I know what my wheelhouse is. I know what my favorite distilleries are at this point in my whiskey journey. So sticking to what I know I like and the expressiveness of independent bottlings and single casks, that's sort of the direction I'm going for. I'm not hunting for a lot of the core range stuff or even, like the limited release stuff. If I had to pick outside of independent bottlers, what I'm sort of gearing myself to is definitely more stuff from the long row wine finish stuff. So long row reds are definitely like a bottle that I think are worth. They're obviously very limited, but I have a long row red Chardonnay cask, which is unbelievable. The Chilean Cab Sav that just came out, I've heard is amazing. So probably that would be the bottles that I would probably, outside of the independents, that would be the distillery release stuff that I'm hunting for. Definitely the long row releases are, I think, in my opinion, well worth hunting for. I miss a lot. Sorry, guys. I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there. Not tangent, but just the thing. Jason, what's going on? You got caught up watching Tony Hawk on Rogan's. Oh, that's who is. Oh, don't even get me. I'm so upset with Joe Rogan right now. Really good for him for securing apparently $100 million deal with Spotify, but I'm not paying for Spotify to watch Joe Rogan's podcast when it starts in the new year. I think that's when it officially transitions fully over to Spotify. But yeah, not happy with that at all. John, I don't mind Jura. I'm never going to turn away a glass of Jura. But the superstition was good and stuff like that. I haven't had a lot from Jura, so I can't say 100%, but I like Jura. Yeah, Peter, exactly. From the Fight Club there. Oh, Peter's got the Chilean Cab. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things. Peter, have you opened it up yet? And Jason, yeah, there is free Spotify, but it'll be interesting to see if they do ads periodically throughout the podcast. If there are sporadic ads using Spotify free to listen or watch the Joe Rogan podcast, I'm out. Just out. If there aren't, then maybe. We'll see. I'll have to see. I'll have to evaluate that once the transition is over. Or complete, I should say. Jura 16, John. Jura 16. Do you have a Jura 16? Am I gonna have to pay a visit to Maine? Maine's a state that I've always wanted to go to. I feel like I'd enjoy what Maine has to offer. I'm a big nature buff, so like trails and coastline and stuff like that. Love that shit. Huge on like mountainous areas. When me and my friends were in Japan, I would often, when we were walking, like if we were, the one thing that I always remember when we were in Miyajima, it's an island just off the coast of Hiroshima. It's the island where, if you've ever seen pictures of Japan and you have the massive gateway that's in the water, that's Miyajima. And yeah, and when we were up in like near the top of the island, because it's very mountainous, and there were temples and everything around, and there's a trail, but of course I'm like off trail, cutting through the forest, hopping on logs, going to, like down into like the creeks and the waterfalls and stuff like that. Oh, Vito. Jason, are you talking to me, Jason? Or AJ, when you're asking if you've had the Welsh whiskey Penderley? I haven't. Jason, I think you're staying at the La Quinta, right? And forgive me for forgetting, because there were so many people. I was fairly overloaded with people. With meeting people and everything. I'm almost, I think I remember seeing you at La Quinta. I know I saw you at the ball. Yeah, that's the thing, is like I met so many people that night, well, both nights, and because I don't do well in big groups. I think if anyone saw me that night, like I was there at La Quinta, I stayed there, but I was only in the lobby for maybe an hour at most. And then I was like, I got to tap out. I got to go. Just I don't do well in huge groups. Too many people, my attention's deviated. And I feel like I'm doing myself and the people I'm around a disservice by not being fully invested in what we're talking about, because I'm like all over the place. My ADD fucking goes haywire. So, but yeah, I feel like you may have asked me to try that, and I said no, because I think I had already had a lot to drink, and I was like, I don't want to waste it. And that I did that a lot. I was just like, you know what? Like oh, Vito, have this. Oh, Vito, have this. Like, oh, I want to, but I'm not going to appreciate it right now. It's not going to be something that I'm going to taste and get the full effect of it. So save it, give it to someone else, really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. So that's me in a big group. If I know that I've blown my palate out, not that I'm drunk. It's just I've blown my palate out completely. Like I've either had like a lot of peat or just like a lot of harsh bourbons. It's like my palate's gone. You're gonna give me something expensive and complex and whatnot. It's just gonna go to waste. And I know people hunted and paid a lot for some specific bottles. So I was like, hold the phone, take it easy. I appreciate it, but yeah. Jason, are you allowed to hang out anymore? I'm going to post the link to the StreamYard once more if you guys would like to come on and hang out for a little bit. If not, I'm probably going to call it a day, just because it is so nice outside. I wouldn't mind going outside, but if anyone's available and wants to come in and discuss stuff or whatnot, more than happy to stick around and talk. I have no issues with that at all. But just kind of talking by myself can only talk so much. Oh, Jason's gonna hop on. Okay, so if Jason's gonna hop on, I'm gonna pour myself what should I pour? Okay. Who's still in the chat? Okay, so Peter's still here. Okay, so I'm going to let Peter. I'm gonna go talk to Peter. Peter, pick a country. And as Peter picks a country, I'm gonna welcome in Jason.
What's up, guys?
Hi, bud.
Dude, I love that hat.
You love my hat?
Yes.
I picked it up just for you today.
Yeah. I can't wear snapbacks. My head's too big.
I have to wear this a slightly off center to my head because I don't want to bend this too much and be like trucker cap. But if I wear it this way, my head's shaped in such a way that right here, here, it just kind of hits and kind of gets impacted. Of course, Peter picks New Zealand. No, Peter, pick like a prominent whiskey country, please. God damn it. Oh, he's leaving. Okay, Jason, pick a country. Cheers, Peter.
Scotland. Always.
Scotland. Okay. Pick a region.
Sky. Island.
Okay. Easy. That's all I'm going to do. Sky. Where is it? I have a Talisker 15. It's a 2019 special release. I'll pour a little bit of that.
I've only got one Talisker left right now. And it is my Game of Thrones House Greyjoy.
Yeah, this special release I got. It's part of a bottle split. I have 6 ounces of it. Where is it? I have because there wasn't a 6-ounce bottle, so got that, which is nice. It's bottled at 57.3%.
Dude, Talisker has the best smell of any Scotch, in my opinion.
It's the right amount of peat, the right amount of brininess, the right amount of sweetness as well. I can't argue against that. Now, you could probably say that's very obviously it's very subjective,
right?
But I'd probably have to agree in terms of the roundness and well balancedness of it. Yeah, and I haven't had a bad Talisker either. Like they've all been stellar.
100% agree. The first time I had Storm, it just totally changed my life as far as like peated scotches go, because it wasn't heavy like Ardbeg or mature like Lagavulin or in your face like Lafroig. It was just like almost the perfect balance of peat and like salt and that back soft bread note.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Oh, that so good. got a lot of berries in it. This release, like raspberries and whatnot. No, mulberries.
I haven't had mulberries in years.
My godfather, I would spend my summers with him and my godmother out on their farm, and they had like easily like more than 10 mulberry bushes. So every morning, me and my uncle, we'd go out. We'd have a couple. After breakfast, we'd have a couple of mulberries and do like our like the morning chores and whatnot. And then, it would always be there. And yeah, very very nostalgic taste there for me. Given that I can't have mulberries anymore.
Really?
Yeah, I can't have very much fruit. I have a bad allergic reaction to them. My mouth gets really really itchy. My throat swells. Breathing gets a little bit difficult, but not to the point of like where I'm struggling.
Yep.
Joe Prestera. My apologies if I'm butchering the last name. Hello from Ottawa. Hello. You're from Ottawa. Jeez. Then. Oh wait. This isn't a Joe that I know. I know a Joe from Ottawa. I don't remember his last name.
I'm sure there's only one.
there's not many people from Ottawa.
Yeah.
But I do know a Joe from Ottawa. I wonder if that's the Joe. But hello. You're close. You're. If that's a new name, obviously for me on the channel. So if you're from Ottawa, I'm in Ottawa quite often. Actually, I have family out in Ottawa, and Brad lives in Ottawa. So if you stick around, we'll eventually have like a hangout in Ottawa, maybe.
And Ottawa's Quebec. Is it Quebec or Quebec?
It's Quebec. No, it's Quebec. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
My apologies, Joe. I've missed your name a couple times. Then, if you've been on here before, but yeah, Ottawa is capital of Canada. It is right on the border of Ontario and Quebec.
Okay. There was someone that was telling me to go up to Canada, but go up, and I apologize, I don't know which province it is, right above Idaho and Washington.
Alberta.
Is it Alberta?
Yeah, you got BC, Alberta, Saskatoon, Manitoba, Ottawa, Ontario. Yeah, it would. But why? It's all. Oh no! At the.
No, it's British Columbia.
Okay, so BC and but. Okay, I was off.
They were saying, yeah, they were saying BC had the best food that they'd had in Canada. I'm a big foodie.
Yes, I feel like you can get food if you're in Vancouver or Toronto.
I've heard a lot of good things about Toronto.
Yeah, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal are obviously the three hot spots in Canada for food. Can't go wrong with any three of them. I haven't been to Vancouver, but I would assume that it's the same sort of deal. Obviously, probably a bit more Asian influence in Ottawa. I mean, in Vancouver, but there's definitely the multiculturalism in Toronto. I think has on BC beat. But again, I think you can get good food just about anywhere you go. I'm never worried whenever I'm going that I'm gonna be disappointed by food, by the food selection.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the different areas have different specialties. Like, obviously your coastal areas have better seafood, but then you go into cattle country and get these amazing steaks and burgers. I like exploring. It's one thing I hate about the quarantine is I generally like to take road trips and just to go somewhere. find small restaurants and eat delicious food.
So I'm just kind of talking with some people right now because the YouTube barrel pick was released apparently, and I wasn't part of the next chain of emails for whatever reason that went out saying that it got released.
Oh.
And I'm trying to figure out why that was and if there's a bottle.
Is that the YouTubies?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you DM me your address afterwards, I'll send you a sample of that Bach, some Taw, and some other stuff, so you have some Texas whiskey in your collection again.
Oh, I was just talking about this too. I feel like I mention this quite often. It's like I feel bad because if it's stopped at the border, it's lost, and I would rather you enjoy it than take the chance of it getting lost at the border.
Well, I was going to go crazy and buy you a bottle of the Bach and a case of the Shiner and send it, but
even sampled, it's tough because I've known people to send samples over the border and it gets stopped. Not to me, but to other people, and it's just like something. But then there's those stories of it getting over successfully. But it's one of those things where it's like I'd feel guilty if it didn't make it, and it's just like, I'll give you my address, but I would still feel a little.
2 ounces isn't a great loss, but it's a great share.
Well, thank you. We'll talk offline.
Yep.
But
I'll put in there it's olive oil or tube sock.
But essential oils.
Essential oils. There you go. What was it? The Whiskey Tribe had to change their Patreon.
They had it changed to the Patreon?
Yeah, their Patreon rewards because it was promoting alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
I turned off my notifications for the Patreon.
That's been a while ago. It was like at the beginning of the year, I think.
Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that. My notifications got turned off around the time of the Bastards Ball, and I just never turned them back on because I was like, oh, I'm free from the 30, 40 notifications a day of there's a new lens. Oh, there's a new lens.
For real though, Rex is all about those lenses.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm okay not keeping up with that. I get notifications on posts, but I'll look at it really quick, like the title, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like if it's like a barrel, like a single release or whatever. I'm just like, no, I can't buy any more because I have probably close to 10 bottles in the States. And
yeah, I hate Texas because of that. I have I don't know how many bottles of Eleanor and the Alliance picks, the Royal Bastard. But I did have some friends commit to going with me next time I go down, so we'll see.
Nice.
When all this is over. I'm not sure if is Texas loose enough for the Crowded Barrel to be open yet?
They're not open for anything other than bottle pickup, and I think bottle pickup is at the door. You can't go inside.
Yeah, I recently had to drop my my donation level from Baron down to just Gentry. Trying to do some financial shuffling to get completely out of debt by this time next year, including house, hopefully.
I'm sad that this little pour went away. But
I like these Libby Bourbon Trail glasses. Do you have any of these?
No.
The only thing is they are deceptively large.
So it's pretty much the size of my head, is what you're saying.
No, but
I mean,
maybe
like,
half of it.
Hold on, look.
Yeah. Oh,
Bigger than my head.
yeah. No, I think you can fit like 5 or 6 ounces in here quite easily.
That's dangerously voluminous.
Yes, especially when I'm used to pouring like right here in the Glencairn, half bulb. Glencairn is about 2 ounces. And you pour that in here and it's about 3 or 4 ounces.
Yep. No, thank you. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm gonna make for dinner tonight. I think I'm gonna make a stir fry.
That's always good.
Yeah, just a veggie stir fry and some rice. Try to be healthy today. I've been eating a little bit piggy the last couple of days. A lot of pizza and frozen wings and stuff like that. So
yeah, my daughter's on this big wing kick. Like it's her favorite food ever. So anytime we go to order anything, she's like, "Can I have wings?"
Love wings.
And I'm not mad at it because it's chicken. And generally, it's probably the healthiest thing on the menu for most places. But she's always been, I don't know, she's a very special child. When she was younger, she ate chicken breast and broccoli only for like 4 months.
Chicken breast and broccoli. Well, it's a good combination.
Yeah, super healthy, but that's like all she ever wanted to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, my buddy just had a kid, and little girl, and I'm just kind of like I'm kind of excited to see how he handles it if she ends up being as picky as he is, because he's not as me and my buddy have very similar eating habits in terms of like and preferences, which to say is like we're fairly picky.
Yeah,
not super picky, but we're fairly picky, and we've sort of broadened our horizons over our 20s. But when we were like in high school, it's like we were very much like no mushrooms, no fish, no this, no that. Like it was just like, oh, and if his daughter's anything like that, I would just be curious to see how he handles it, especially now that he's a bit more adventurous and stuff like that. I'm just kind of curious.
Had a really good takeout the other day. We went to a gastro pub and I had chicken tenders and mushroom risotto.
What a combination.
Oh, it was so good. It was good. And we also had a big giant pretzel with beer cheese. Oh.
Wow.
I'm super adventurous. I'll eat anything pretty much once.
Have you ever had
Go ahead.
Have you ever had urchin?
Yes, in California when I lived out in LA, I had some, and it was amazing.
Really,
I liked it.
I didn't have any. My buddy who's a huge seafood guy, tried it and he was just like, I'm not about this.
Yeah, my daughter is quasi adventurous. Like she'll try anything that's cooked, so sushi's out. And if she's had it once before and she didn't like it, she generally won't try it again, which is the opposite of me.
Oh boy.
Oh, I know. It's not so sunny here today.
It's not sunny over there? Really?
I mean, it's a little sunny, but it's not like yesterday. It was like 90.
Oh, it's beautiful weather.
Peter White pepperoni is probably my favorite food ever.
I don't mind pepperoni. Pepperoni pizza, I dig. I don't know if I can have pepperoni like just by itself.
Oh, I used to. Is it Jimmy John's has a pepperoni and salami sandwich? It's amazing.
That makes sense. And it pepperoni with things is really good.
Yeah, well, pepperoni is just a salami with paprika in it, isn't it? Pretty much.
I don't know. When I think of salami, I think of like my nonna salami. Hashtag spoiled Italian.
Yeah, that's fair. We have so right by where I used to live, there's a little town called Krebs,
Okay.
Oklahoma, and they have a place called Pete's that's an Italian deli and restaurant. And they like make their own salamis, they make their own mozzarella, all their dishes, all their pastas handmade. Pretty epic.
Mm.
And then I think they also started a brewery. Chalk beer, I think, is from there. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No.
It's a stout. Seems to be the popular thing in Oklahoma right now are stouts.
Stouts are gaining traction everywhere, I think. But I love stouts, so like I'm just like more stout for me.
Yeah, I'm very much on the polar opposite scale on beers. Like I like Hefeweizens and stouts,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not a whole lot in between.
Yeah. The like Belgium and German style beers, obviously the Hefeweizens, that Erdinger, the Hefeweizen Erdinger and the Dunkel Erdinger are two of my favorite beers of all time.
Have you ever had Francis Connor?
Who I say again?
Francis Connor?
I'm trying to remember because I was in Munich for a couple of days. I might have had it, but I don't recall.
So if I remember correctly, it's the oldest continuous brewery in Germany. They've been making their Hefeweizen since 1340.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say that I probably did, but I can't verify that.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That's the story I heard, and we all know how stories can be completely wrong. But yeah, they're one of the ones that strictly adhere to the purity laws.
Mm. Yeah, in especially in like Bavaria, they still have like the purity laws there because I think there's only in all of Bavaria, well, what was once Bavaria. I think there's only a handful of distilleries that are allowed to brew because they still have their purity laws in place there.
That's pretty amazing that you can do that, and it only takes, what is it? Yeast, wheat, barley,
water, and there's a fourth one.
Is it wheat or is it
yeast? Well, yeast and water.
Yep, for sure.
Wheat there would have to be some barley, I think. Well, it would be interchangeable.
Like a grain, maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, just like it's amazing especially if you go to like to Munich and you're having like during the either Oktoberfest or the Strong Beer Fest in like the spring, or the late winter, just the variety and the difference that you'll get from the breweries that use all four of the same ingredients.
Yeah. Well, I think the yeast has a lot to play with it in beer, especially, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, probably, definitely, right? But
yeah, and then the strain of the grain you're using. So I know there's a huge difference between like winter wheat and like what is it? Red wheat? Is that the normal wheat? I'm not sure.
But I think. Well, I'm hungry now, so I think I'm gonna probably jump off.
I was gonna wait till Friday to hop on because I bought a Nirvana shirt specifically to come on the show.
Well, have it ready on for Friday.
Yeah, we've got a national holiday Monday, so most of my team is off Friday. So Friday is going to be a super light day.
For the 4 people, 3 people probably watching. Alan and Jason are still going live on the Whiskey Friend YouTube channel. They're talking. They were talking about bourbon for a Scotch drinker and Scotch for a bourbon drinker. I don't know if they're still talking about that now, like 3 hours later. But you're more than let's all hop over there and show them some love. And we'll see everyone tomorrow night for Cask Strength Live. We're doing again another sample night. I don't know what Ed's doing on Rock Up, but then again at 10 o'clock Eastern, we're doing a Cask Strength After Dark stream. So we got 2 streams tomorrow night again, and yeah. So thanks for joining on this Wednesday happy hour, day number 60 something, I think it was. Anyways, whatever.
Cheers.